Distributing experience points is pretty straightforward. As for the music in this section, the song is called The Wind Calls to Shavat in the Blue Sky from the game Xenogears. Thanks Gamma Nerd for the suggestion. During gameplay, we accrue experience points in a couple different ways. For one, we get it for killing enemies. Another way is we can get it if we pause the game during a round and then convert our remaining time limit to experience points. There's a third way. We get a small bonus if we come close to getting hit by an enemy attack, but we manage to dodge it. You may have noticed this happen from time to time. When the wisp flashes blue, you know you've done it, and the game calls that a skillful dodge. Anyway, you get some experience points for doing that. So, after you play for a while, you have this pool of experience points that you can give to your knights as you see fit. Here, on this screen, you can pick the knight you want to give your experience to. So, let's do an example. Johan, you're our warrior, so let's level you up a little bit. So, if I select Johan, the top screen shows me what's going on. Looks like his current level is 8, and it looks like I need to give him 80,000 XP to get him to level 9. I currently have 481,869 XP to spend. Alright, so here you go, buddy. Alright. He's given the XP and now he's level 9. And it looks like his max level is 18. That level cap can be changed, and we'll cover that in the Trans Soul section. For now, though, what did leveling do for us? Well, there are two reasons to level your knights. The first is to raise their level so that they can wield high-level weapons. Do you remember some of the weapons I've looked at that exceeded my knight's level? For example, we had a fire-based barbarian axe that's level 8. Michelle couldn't wield it, so he ended up taking Slasher in the last video. If I dump enough experience points into Michelle, he'll eventually meet the level of the barbarian axe and he'll be able to wield it. So that's one benefit for leveling your knights. The other is that they will recover a little bit of vitality. I touched on this briefly, but vitality is a resource that the knights use to perform attacks. Each attack takes a little bit of vitality from the knight that's performing it. So regular attacks take 0.1 vitality. Now remember, regular attack that's when we attack without equipping an item. It does very little damage, but it's good for farming gems. Skill attacks, those take 0.5 vitality, and that's of course when I equip a weapon to my knight and charge up. Finally, there's a type of attack we haven't used yet. Certain weapons have the ability to allow knights to do a sort of overcharge. These attacks are called high X attacks, and they consume 1.0 vitality. There will be a time when we cover these high X skills, but we're not going to worry about them right now. Anyway, the point is that each time a knight attacks, he or she is going to lose some vitality. The vitality is lost when the attack occurs, so you can charge up a knight and then cancel the attack. The knight will not go through the attack and then therefore not consume vitality. If the attack was going to be a skill attack or a high X attack, you'd still lose the magic point when you charge the knight. And then of course you'll also lose the time spent charging the knight. But you can at least mitigate some of the loss by saving the knight's vitality. So, what happens when the knight reaches 0 vitality? Well, I think I mentioned it, but the knight disappears forever. Yep, deleted from the game. So that's pretty harsh. For that reason, you don't want your knights to get too low on vitality. Now, there is another way to recover vitality, and we'll cover that in the Trans Soul section. For now, just be advised that leveling your knights does two things. It allows them to use higher level weapons, and it also gives them back a little bit of vitality. It doesn't raise their strength or their dexterity or anything like that. The closest this game comes to that is the Chaos and Law indices, which is covered in the Trans Soul section. One more thing about leveling up your knights. Why did I pick Johan to be our warrior? Why did I pick Moira to be our hermit? Well, in the end, I think most knights will be solid fighters, and it's probably pretty hard to actually screw yourself. So, in a lot of cases, the knights I pick is just one I like. But there is another factor that I weigh. Now, this is not a particularly informed decision, but I go with it. And it's something I kind of stumbled on. Let's highlight Johan in the screen. Now, whoops. I found this out by accident, and I don't think it's in the instruction manual, But if you highlight a knight like this and then you press on the D-pad, you get a little graph on the top screen. It's not especially well labeled, but my interpretation of this graph is that it shows the amount of vitality gained per level up. The x-axis is the knight's level, and the y-axis is the vitality gained. So we can see Johann steadily gains more vitality the more he levels. Eventually he peaks and he starts to slope downward, but presumably that's fairly late. So, leveling Johann should provide him with a decent amount of vitality. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think it's good enough to go off of. If we were to check out Michel, he actually has a superior vitality chart. But guess what, Michel? Too late. I've already spent experience points on Johann, and plus I like Johann, so he's going to be our warrior. I'm planning to level one main character from each class, and that is actually a terrible strategy. But in the end, it doesn't matter. So why is it a bad idea? Well, let's look at Johann. Oops. There we go. His elemental affinity is neutral. And there's nothing wrong with neutral, it's just one of the 6 affinities. The issue is that I'm limiting myself to one warrior with one elemental affinity. So I won't have a high-level warrior with, say, ice affinity. That will come into play later in the game, but as I said, it won't matter too much. The game will provide knights to me at a pretty even pace, and as the game progresses, the level of the knights I recruit increases as well. So I should be able to make do if I need another warrior with a different affinity. At any rate, I'm not going to worry about it. Finally, one last thing. There is a reason why you might want to hold off on leveling your knights, but I'll cover that in the Trans Soul section. And really, that's about all I have to say about distributing experience points. Go back to the setup screen.